Call the meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, September 19th, 7:30 p.m. This is our regular commission meeting, final budget submittal. Meeting's been called to order. For the invocation, Chief.
Thank you. Dear God in heaven, we thank you for bringing us safely to this meeting tonight. We thank you for the countless blessings you bestow upon us each and every day. We thank you both for the big things and the small things which we may overlook or take for granted. Bless and comfort the family of the fallen Marines who lost their lives recently in battle, as well as the police officers who have also given their lives protecting their communities. Bless the first responders, the firefighters, and the officers, and everyone involved in the recovery efforts on the Atlantic coast that were besieged by the hurricane last week. Keep us all safe, increase our love for each other, and let us not seek problems. We're here as one big happy family, not just in Florida, in this community, but in the entire country. We're seeing the separations that has been going on everywhere. We ask this, dear God, in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. For the pledge, Deputy Chief.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Funciona que tiene que ser la mayoría, no puede ser total.
And for the record, I do believe I failed to state the start time of the meeting. That was 7:32 p.m., Madam Clerk? I
Duly
did?
noted.
Okay. Roll call?
Roll call. Mayor Eduardo Mujina is excused this evening. Vice Mayor Rhonda Rodriguez,
Present.
and acting as the mayor. Commissioner Candida Blanca. Yes. Commissioner Juan Blanes.
Present.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Acting City Manager Juan Pena is present. City Attorney Jose Villalobos and City Clerk Nery Gonzalez.
Anything out of order tonight, Madam Clerk?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, next agenda item.
Item 4, presentation of minutes for approval for September 4th, 2018 Special Commission meeting.
Need a second?
Second.
Next item, Madam Clerk?
Are all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item passes. Item 5, report of the city manager.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I submitted a written report, and as you recall, at the last meeting, we were asked to make it short, so we skipped over the September 4th report, but there were plenty of items that you wished to have heard, and if you wish, I could read it into the record.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pena, I do. Thank you.
Okay. This was covering the previous 2 weeks. Our school police officer has started at Sylvania Heights Elementary, and the students and parents have welcomed the additional security for their members and the school in general. There is one of the West Miami police officers assigned to this post for the school year. Early voting has finished with true convenience for all those who took advantage of the site. As a matter of general maintenance, we used the following week to give the community center a new coat of paint and freshen the look. Our community center will resume regular operations on September 4th, which it did. We went ahead and, due to Commissioner Blanes not being present at the previous meeting before the September 4th, we had skipped some items on our agenda, and one of those was regarding the street sign marker signs. And at the last agenda meeting, we discussed as a item for the budget. However, you all decided to just keep it as we have been proceeding. We are progressing. We're able to put 4 new markers on streets using 62nd Avenue, which is the one that we're using now, to replace, and we're making good progress on a weekly basis. There's a new, going into the other report, there's more new relevant information regarding our conversations with FEMA. We met with Theodore Randall from FEMA. He's the one that has replaced our previous project manager. And he has reviewed all our pending claims and paperwork and advised us that all our paperwork was in order and that he would refile the paperwork as the agency likes to see it. And it should go forward from that point through the obligation process and then the subsequent funding from FEMA and the state of Florida, public assistance. We should see completion, hopefully, of this item from Hurricane Irma within the next 2 months. We also met with our summer camp last year. This previous year was a successful camp, and our average program attendance after school is 100 kids a day at the West Miami Recreation Center after-school program. We also have the building department that is approaching another year of sustained growth in new and redevelopment projects, both commercial and residential. We are scheduled to surpass the value of work number by 25% over last year's numbers. Last year, we had about $3.5 million in value of work that was performed to properties and business and residential. This year, we're at $4.5 million through month's end. So it's actually increased $1 million over this year. The live oak in front of the community center has died. So we went ahead and removed the main branches in order to prevent a mishap on the building with the constant storms that we are receiving. We have left in place the main trunk of the tree, and instead of removing the stump, I would like to proceed with collecting input for a carved sculpture for this area. I have provided some samples on the back of the report of an art piece to have in front of the community center made out of this tree trunk, and perhaps additional landscaping and semicircle seating around the tree, what used to be the tree, in order to be able to observe the sculpture once it's done. And also, I would like to get ideas from the commission as a whole as to how they wish to proceed. We are also asking to redirect tonight to redirect the dollars that we have in the proposed budget for the recreation center in order to apply for a FERDAP match now in October for a maximum of $400,000. This will allow us to replace the old restrooms, the pavilion roof, add a barbecue area to the pavilion, add picnic tables and benches, and upgrade the baseball field lights, and replace the other playground set and resurface the tennis courts. Instead of spending $200,000, if we're awarded the grant, we would have $400,000 to do some improvements to the rec center with state money.
You have that as an agenda item, right?
There's a
So
resolution.
We'll just take it up at that time.
Yes. And that's it for the report.
Very good. Any questions for the acting city manager from the table?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Penna. Madam Clerk?
Next item, item 6, report of the city attorney.
There's no report by the city attorney at this point.
Thank you, sir.
Item 7, report of the city engineers, none this evening. Item 8, committee reports, report of the mayor.
I don't have a report this evening, Madam Manager. Anyone else?
No reports. Item 9, citizen presentations. Does anybody wants to address the commission? No presentations, Madam
I'd like
Mayor?
to take point of privilege for this, at this moment, to welcome the residents that we have in attendance this evening, and staff. We have staff here in police department. Thank you all for being here. We love company. So thank you to all the residents and staff that we have in the chambers this evening.
Yes, item 10, unfinished business. Item 10A, this is a discussion and recommendation for the adoption of resolution establishing guidelines for public records requests. This item is, was brought by the city attorney.
This is really not a resolution. This is just a recommendation that I have for the office of the clerk. Chapter 119 governs public records. And public records is a very broad institution created by the state of Florida to have sunshine in all activities that the city does and all of the members of the city commission and employees. Several years ago, not several years ago, but a couple of years ago, we had a particular request by one individual that requested any and all emails, conversations, etc., by each and every one members of the or citizens of the city of West Miami. We're talking about tens of thousands of requests. And although they have an absolute right to request anything, certainly it's not logical that the clerk, being just one person, be charged with the responsibility of doing everything, and there would be no cost at the requester. Chapter 119 authorizes the charging of certain fees, reasonable fees, and copying, not only the fees for the research, but also for copying. And I proposed a procedure which is in your packet, and also a letter that I suggest that the clerk responds to any requester, stating you have all the right to come and see, but if this is unusual or extensive, you will have to pay and according to Chapter 119 Florida statute. As you know, the city cannot amend any state statute. All the city can do is just simply start and put certain, not even restrictions, but rules of order into how and when public records should be responded. If you have examined that, all that we need is you're okay, and the administration, the clerk will assume that responsibility.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Attorney. I'm in agreement with the recommendation of Mr. Attorney of following the guidelines, because sometimes public records requests can be tricky, and if we follow like certain procedure, following the guidelines, it will leave us with no window for mistakes or just overseeing any records or any mistakes in general. So I am in agreement with the recommendation of the city attorney. So all we need is consensus to just follow what he's proposing.
Any
And
questions?
further, I'd like to say that the public records request statute has to be strictly construed. That means that you have to apply, barring any interpretation. You cannot interpret what the statute says. You have to go according to the double T's and double commas and double periods that you might have in the statute. So this is the way it should be, and this just establishes a guideline of how to summarize public records request.
Are there any questions from the table?
I have a question. The public record request and the way we answer, I mean, when I talk, the city answers, is regulated by the state, the county?
By
Okay,
Chapter
city.
119 Florida statutes.
It's Florida statute.
Yes, sir.
So we have to go by that statute.
Yes, sir.
Each city cannot modify
Cannot
The way
modify
they answer.
anything.
the way they answers the request for public record.
That is correct, sir.
So what we're doing here is following the Florida statute.
Strictly construing the Florida statute. Yes, sir.
All right.
Just for clarification, the Florida statutes say you have to respond. There is they propose certain procedure, very, as he said, construed, but what the city attorney is proposing here, the way in do it, following certain format on a letter, in responding, you always have to acknowledge that you received a records request. You have certain time to provide, reasonable time to provide a response. So he's just suggesting and recommending the way that the way that we respond to those records requesting by way of a letter acknowledging, and the way that we respond, requesting a deposit if it requires extensive use of clerical time and technology.
Assuming that a person comes and has an extensive public records request,
Yeah.
and the clerk not only have to devote time to researching all that public record, et cetera, composes everything, prints everything, copies everything, and so on and so forth, and then there's no response, and the person that requested never appears. So the city had lost the services of the city clerk, and whatever time she had devoted, and any other assistant that she might have. So therefore, the law allows that the city clerks requests a deposit and charges that deposit the amount of time that she spends, or on reasonable request that she might spend time on.
I have, I guess it's more of a point of clarification versus a question, Mr. Attorney, Madam Clerk. I imagine we are already following this Florida statute, Chapter 119. We
Yes.
follow it already. So this is simply putting rules of order on our books, because we're already doing it. So we're
Yes.
simply putting the
Yes.
rules of order on our books. That's the
Correct.
purpose of this. Now, as far as the fees, that's governed by the Florida statute, Chapter 119, or do we set our own fees? How does that work, the fee schedule?
It's a reasonable fee. For instance, you cannot charge more than, is it 15 cents per page?
It all depends. In copying is 15 cents per page. When it comes a time where you have to try to locate and copy records, sometimes the location, it takes time. So it all depends. If you think, or if I consider that I will spend a lot of time in researching and locating the records, we assess a fee, a certain amount to the person in order to cover the time that I will spend in searching or reproducing or locating those records.
So that exact fee is not predetermined in the Florida statute?
They say
It's a
it's reasonable, yes.
So the exact
the-
fee is determined by the
And the
municipality?
fee cannot be arbitrary and capricious. The fee is simply if the clerk cannot do it herself and she requests the assistance of an individual, the maximum fee that you can charge is the hourly basis in which that individual is being paid at the point.
Yeah, I saw that in your document here, Mr. Attorney. Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
No, my question is, if we're following the Florida statute, what new guidelines are going to establish?
Sir, that's up to you to decide.
No,
I thought-
that's what you, adopting resolution establishing guidelines for the public
I
record
said that
request.
this is not a resolution. That was an error, sir.
But if we're following the Florida statute, what we talking about here?
This is not a resolution. That was an error in putting a resolution there. So this is only a guideline and a suggestion for a letter that should go out to, because we don't have a form of a letter right at this point,
No,
do
we
we?
don't. We don't have
Okay.
like
We're
formal
going to-
letter to
are
respond
going to put new guidelines?
We're
I'm
not
going to
putting
set-
guidelines, sir. We're just advising the clerk on how to streamline the specific charter, statute mandate, and also creating a letter that is non-existent at this point.
Mr. Villalobos, but if you bring the letter here tonight, we know what you mean.
It is.
But now I don't see
It's
any-
in- Commissioner, it's
guidelines.
in your package. It
I'm
is
just
here.
proposing, Mr.
The letter is
Commissioner, if
here.
you don't like it, just vote against it, you know?
No, it's not
uh,
not your answer, sir.
Sir?
I'm not calling you to give me that answer.
Well,
You just know.
what do you want me to say?
The new guidelines, which are the new guidelines you want to establish?
Commissioner, if I may,
No,
it's
what-
my understanding, correct me if I'm
Okay.
wrong, Mr. Attorney, Madam Clerk, it's my understanding, we're not setting new guidelines, we are simply putting the rules of order on our books. We are already following the state statute, Chapter 119. We are simply putting these rules on our books.
Correct. But
Nothing more than that,
And
is
I'm
my
asking-
understanding.
I'm
But
asking the
the
clerk
city-
whether or not the clerk believes that this form letter will help her. Does it help you, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Attorney.
Okay.
there's also in his package for this item,
Yes?
there's a form letter on the back.
Yes. Yes, there is.
And that is the form letter that Mr. Villalobos is proposing that we have as part of our policy in order to
Responding,
inform
yes.
the person making the request what the costs are going to be if it's something out of the ordinary.
Which we have not had before, so now we will have
Exactly.
this.
This is a letter that has
on our-
been obviously drafted by Mr. Villalobos.
Correct.
And meets state requirements.
Okay, any other questions? I need a motion?
Just your consensus.
Is this consensus?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item?
Next
Madam Clerk?
item, under new business agenda items. This is the public hearing of final budgets for fiscal year 2018-19. Item 11A is the submission of the final city budgets for fiscal year 2018-19 by city manager, acting city manager.
I have provided another memorandum to the commission. The following changes have been made to the final budget, 2018-2019. Pursuant to our publishing guidelines and budget ads, the final budget was published in the Miami Herald as required by the Department of Revenue trim section. The notices appear in the paper of Sunday, September 16, 2018. Our budget ads comply with the state statute pertaining to the advertisement guidelines and timelines for municipal budgets. Since the tentative budget was presented and approved with minor changes, the city has been notified that the state portion of the gasoline tax revenue and the local 5% gasoline tax revenue will increase. That triggers a slight increase in the total general fund revenue in the amount of $7,575,737. This increase is due to the increase in population following the per capita growth. We did insert changes to the budget, and you'll see it in the revenue section of the proposed budget under 319-119 gasoline tax. It was increased by $5,000. And that's the only change that has been done since the tentative. And then 319-190, the 5-cent gasoline tax from $29,000 to $31,804.
It's a nice change, to see it go up versus down.
Yes.
I'm going to open the public hearing at this time. Public hearing's open. Anyone to speak on the public hearing?
Nobody has registered.
Going
Madam
once,
Mayor.
going twice? Close the public hearing. Any comments, questions from the table? Close the public hearing. Everyone had a chance to meet with the acting city manager and Any get all your comments, questions answered ahead of time? questions? Mr. Manager, anything more?
No, that's it at this time.
Well, before we call the vote, I'd like to extend my gratitude. I know this was a collaboration of many people, this budget. So I'd like to thank our previous city manager, our acting city manager, our acting finance director, our previous finance director, who's not in attendance, but this was a collaboration of many people. It was a different time, the way this was put together. A lot of hands were in there, and I know we all took the time to meet with the acting city manager and get all our questions answered. So thank you for your time, Mr. Penna, for answering all our questions. It's a sound budget, very sound budget. So thank you to the department directors that are here, to the PD, everyone that had an input in this budget, because I'm very, very pleased with it. So, again, any questions, comments, concerns? We need a motion.
We have a
Oh,
resolution.
with
We have
resolution,
to
sorry,
read it.
Madam
We have
Madam
to
Clerk,
read the
please.
next.
Item 11B, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, establishing the 2018 final millage rates upon all real and personal property within the city limits for the payment of the amounts appropriated in the 2018-19 final budget by Mayor and City Commission.
Motion?
On the
Madam
motion,
Clerk,
Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
yes.
4-0, item passes.
Next item.
Item 11C, is a resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, adopting the 2018-19 final budget by Mayor and City Commission.
Motion?
Call the vote?
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca? Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Next item?
Item D, resolution of the City of West Miami, Florida, adopting the final Water Enterprise Fund budget for the year 2018-19 in the sum of $882,014 by Mayor and City Commission.
Motion?
Call the vote, please.
Yes, Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner
$882,014.
Blanes? Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Next item?
Next item, this is a first reading, a public hearing, item 11E. Please be patient, because I'm gonna have to read a lot.
Madam Clerk,
This is a lot of
point of
technical
privilege,
stuff.
if you don't
Yes,
mind. I
sure.
was a little confused with the heading of this item. First reading, semicolon, public hearing. It's one or the other, or am I not understanding something here? First
Yes.
reading, there's no discussion. Public hearing, there's discussion, so which is it?
It's actually a first hearing, not first reading.
Okay,
It's a first
so-
hearing. The
then-
item has to deal with zoning, and it's required 2 public hearings.
So we will
So
correct
since this
that.
is an ordinance, this is a
May I-
first
may I
hearing.
take a
public-
moment,
Yes,
Madam Mayor?
please.
Esto se me ha ocurrido después, ¿no? La posibilidad de que esto pase son mínimas, pero yo creo que se debe añadir aquí que they will hold Congress in with the magnifiers.
Okay.
If there's any problem, okay?
Go
Okay,
ahead.
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Attorney? We may proceed, everything's good?
Yes,
Okay?
So it's first hearing and public hearing.
right.
This is an ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami, Exhibit A, vacating, abandoning, and closing the public easement for the Alameda Building Number 1, legal description, a parcel of land portion of the easement reserved in the Declaration of Restrictions recorded in Deed Book 4648, page 143 of the Public Records of Miami-Dade County, and being more particularly described as follows: the south 5 feet of Lot 1, 2, and 3, and the north 5 feet of Lot 16 and 17, all as measured at right angles, and all within Block 2 of re-subdivision of Second Revised Plat portion of Alameda, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 44, page 45 of the Public Records of Miami-Dade County, Florida, a survey attached hereto as Exhibit B, providing for an effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
Madam Clerk, so is this going to follow the protocol of a public hearing?
Yes.
I open the public hearing, close the public hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Just to elaborate on what is being done here. As you know, Alameda 1 and 2 are being constructed, and that's the old site of the CVS Pharmacy and the old site of the Ambassador Motel. Between those two, in the center of that parcel of land, there is a 10-foot easement that's recorded in the public records that in the previous situation, when the CVS and the motel were there, served for our water lines and utility lines to go across and service the properties there. Since the demolishing of the building and the approval of the new site plan, that power section that was going through there, and the AT&T and all the other utilities, plus our water lines, have been removed and are no longer needed in that area, because obviously the new building's gonna go up in the encompassing that whole area. So therefore, we are required to vacate that easement and eliminate it from our records for the remainder of its time. Under a separate hearing further down, we are moving our easement, because there is a water line there that we need to service, to on one property to the westernmost side of the property line, and on the other property to the easternmost side of the property, to continue that water line easement north and south instead of east and west. They will connect the new water lines with the improvements to the Southwest 9th Street. Instead of going across Southwest 63rd mid-block how they used to, they will go along Southwest 9th Street out of the way of the new construction.
So,
May I?
yes.
I have one suggestion that had just occurred to me, and as afterthought after we drafted the ordinance, and I have just conferred with the manager, and I would add as a section 6, because of the past experiences that we had when we had another lawsuit against the city, that the applicant will hold those harmless and will indemnify the city of West Miami should there be any claims by anybody. In other words, as you remember, the last time that we had this issue was
With Interconnected Bank.
right, and they had a particular neighbor that filed a lawsuit which cost about $50,000, and which the city did not have to pay a penny, because we had inserted that the applicant, in this case Alameda, would hold us harmless and will indemnify the city of any cost should there be any lawsuit against the city.
So that section will be added to this
To the
ordinance that we're looking at now.
Yes,
It'll
ma'am.
actually be section 7, because there already is a section 6, but that's neither here nor there, just
Correct.
add the section. Okay, perfect. So, Mr. Penna, to put it simply, we're moving the easement, basically, is what we're doing.
Yeah, the only one still requiring an easement is ourselves, because Florida Power and Light, they paid Florida Power and Light to reroute the power for that whole area to Southwest 10th Street. And from there, going north, they will feed the buildings when they're online.
Okay, and
So-
this is standard for development.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion?
Well, it's a public hearing, so we need to open the public hearing. Anyone would like to speak on this item? Close the public hearing? Comments or
Motion.
questions from the table first, before we motion? Any questions? Ready for a motion?
Motion?
Motion by Commissioner Suarez. Do we hear second? Second by Commissioner Blanes on the motion. Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Yes. Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Next item?
Item F, this is a first hearing, a public hearing. This is an ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami, Exhibit A, the public easement of the Alameda Building Number 1, legal description, a parcel of land being the west 2 feet less the north 5 feet thereof, all as measured at right angles, lot 17, block 2 of re-subdivision of second revised plat portion of Alameda according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 44, page 45 of the Public Records of Miami-Dade County, Florida. Shall be attached here too as Exhibit B, providing for an effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
That's correction, lot 16, not 17.
I was just gonna say that.
16,
Yes. You said 17.
did I?
Yes.
Just one more.
Okay.
Yes, corrected. Thank you.
And I'm going to add the same language as I proposed in the prior ordinance, that the applicant will hold those harmless and the city of West Miami harmless, will indemnify the city for any cost should there be any litigation against the city.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Mr. Manager, anything else on this item?
Same description, just another parcel of land. It needs to be opened as a public
Yes,
Public
hearing.
hearing?
Public hearing must be open.
Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Close public hearing. Any questions, comments from the table? Need a motion?
Second?
Yes, on the motion, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca? Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Next item?
Item 11G, first hearing, public hearing. An ordinance of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Exhibit A, vacating, abandoning, and closing the public easement for the Alameda Building Number 2, legal description, a parcel of land portion of the easement reserved in the Declaration of Restrictions recorded in Deed Book 2648, page 143 of the Public Records of Miami-Dade County, and being more particularly described as follows: the south 5 feet of Lot 9 and the north 5 feet of Lot 10 as measured at right angles, and all within Block 1 of re-subdivision of second revised plat portion of Alameda according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 44, page 45 of the Public Records of Miami-Dade County, Florida. A survey attached here too as Exhibit B, providing for effective date, Mayor and City Commission.
Mr. Attorney? Mr. Attorney, anything on this one?
Well, it's the same thing as I suggested before, and for the record, we will add in here that the applicant will indemnify and hold us harmless should there be any litigation against the city of West Miami concerning this. I don't think that there's going to be any, but it's always good to be in the safe side. And the experience shows us that, as before, we did save about $50,000
We did.
on that afterthought that we had.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manager, anything?
Same description as before.
Open the public hearing. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this matter? Close the public hearing. Any
Motion.
questions? Questions from the table?
Motion?
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Yes, on the motion, Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes. Item 11H, first hearing, public hearing, an ordinance of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Exhibit A, easement for the Alameda Building Number 2, legal description, a parcel of land being the east 2 feet less, the north 5 feet thereof, all as measured at right angles, Lot 10 of Block 1 of re-subdivision of second revised plat portion of Alameda, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 44, page 45 of the Public Records of Miami-Dade County, Florida. A survey attached here too as Exhibit B, providing for an effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
Same description. This is establishing the new easement for the water line.
Mr. Attorney?
Again, we will add another section there that establishes that the applicant will indemnify and hold the city of West Miami harmless of any potential litigation that might ensue according to the vacation of that easement.
Thank you, sir. Open the public hearing. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this item? Close the public hearing. Table, questions,
Motion.
comments?
Motion?
Second.
It's on the motion. Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Next item, please.
Item 11I, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami rescinding resolution number 2016-16, vacating, abandoning, and closing the street of Southwest 63rd Avenue between Southwest 9th Street and Southwest 8th Street to the north, subject to the approval by FDOT, Miami-Dade County Public Works, and any other regulatory agency providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
As you-
Mr. Manager, I need some more information on this item, please.
As you recall, back during the first site plan approval of the Alameda project, they were requesting for us to vacate the street in a attempt to unite both properties and we went ahead with that first approval of that site plan, and we did allow them to, we passed a resolution allowing them us to vacate the street in order for them to develop a unified project. However, when it went to resolution allowing the Miami-Dade County was opposed to that, and this is just rescinding the resolution that we approved back then. Since that time, the Alameda project came back as 2 buildings, with leaving 63rd Avenue as a whole there, and this will be rescinding the previous vacation that we did.
So it's just simply resending what was there before, for the records.
The
Yes.
closing of 63rd Avenue.
Any questions for the manager?
Second,
Thank you. Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
yes.
Commissioner Blanca? Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes. Item 11J, this is a bid tabulation report by the Office of the City Clerk in reference to milling and resurfacing of existing asphalt trail at Cooper Park project, and recommendation by staff. And on September 10th at 1 o'clock, a bid was opened for the aforementioned project, and only one bid was received in the amount of $19,700 by R.J. Spencer Construction LLC, as I said, for the project of milling and resurfacing of existing asphalt trail at Cooper Park.
As part of the FERDAP grant from 2016, the last thing that we have there to do, part of the improvements was adding more picnic tables, replacing the playground set on 15th Street, and redoing the asphalt trail along Cooper Park. This is the last portion of that project. We sent out the bid a month ago to over 25 companies. Only one chose to submit a bid. They meet the requirements. They have the bonds, the performance bonds, and the surety bonds, and we recommend that they be awarded the project for the Cooper Park resurfacing.
Mr. Manager, is that a standard cost in your experience, or is that?
We did ask for proposals, non-formal proposals prior to going out for bid, and the asphalt companies that we've worked with in the past provided us proposals anywhere between $22,000 to $25,000. So the fact that we went out to competitive bid and got a bid of $19,700 is a good price.
And is this going to take care of, I noticed right now, the trail, you got like drop-offs.
We have
You know,
drop-offs
like-
and we have
Like
routes
there's
that
a
are
ditch on each side of the trail. This is going to take care of that, right? It'll be
correct. They will
all level.
remill and resurface the area after they've done that, because that'll correct the bumps that from tree roots and everything else that's grown over the years. We will go in and add soil to the side of the trail so that those bumps aren't there anymore. Those drop-offs aren't there anymore. Their main course is just fixing the base of the trail and resurfacing it and making it a smooth surface. Once they finish, then we'll go in and add sod and sand and sod to eliminate any drop-offs.
How long is it projected, will it take for them to complete that?
It should be done within a month.
Any other questions?
Yeah, our city engineers, do they recommend this company? Do they
Yes,
have any previous
we did.
knowledge
We
of their
called
work?
the references that they provided, and they all came back positive.
Motion,
We have to read the resolution. We have a resolution, which is item K, a resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with R.J. Spencer Construction LLC for the amount of $19,700 for the purpose of accomplishing the milling and resurfacing of existing asphalt trail at Cooper Park project, providing for funding from park impact fees, and providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission. So motion was made by Commissioner Suarez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Blanes. Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Suarez,
yes.
Commissioner Blanes.
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez,
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Madam Clerk, point of privilege, I'd like to yield the table to Commissioner Blanca for an announcement.
Sure.
Yes, I would like to recognize as our state representative, Javier Fernandez. Please.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you all.
It's always good to see
my,
you.
My apologies for my poor attire this evening. We're out engaging in unofficial activities, but PJ Campbell, my legislative aide, has been here. We just wanted to be present following the budget in case there are any requests that you want us to carry for you in Tallahassee. I noted on the agenda there's a resolution L, and was speaking with Ms. Aguilar. We'll be speaking with your manager to the extent that we can be of help in providing a letter of support or working with your lobbying team on procuring that $200,000 grant. We'd be eager to do that. So, again, thank you for the recognition.
Thank you, sir. PJ,
Okay.
did you want to come up and say anything? Introduce yourself? Come on up.
Thank you, commissioners, and everyone in attendance. I'm the legislative aide for Representative Fernandez, and anything you guys need, our office is right here on 5582 Southwest A Street. So if you have any concerns or issues, please come by, visit us. Maria Lombard is our district aide, and we hold down the office. Anything you guys need, let us know, and we'll be providing that letter of support. And if you guys, I'm going to leave some business cards here. If you guys want to reach out, I can draft up the letter and we can work on it together. So
That would
just
be
let me know.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Javier.
Before, Mayor, one
Yes.
moment. Before you leaving, we have there pastelitos de guayaba.
Oh, thank you. I'll take one for the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for dropping by.
No, my pleasure,
You're always
ma'am.
welcome.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we have to remember that we have an election coming up, and
Yes, yes, we do.
the
November.
representative will be in the ballot, so we should encourage everybody to just go ahead and do their duty.
Thank you again for dropping in, Javier. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
Yes, next item will be item 11L, resolution of the mayor and the city commission of the city of West Miami approving the submission of a FERDAP application for the West Miami Recreation Center for a $200,000 grant to be matched with $200,000 from Park Impact Fee for a project total of $400,000 for the construction of restrooms, playground, picnic benches, pavilion roof, and baseball lights for the recreation center, thereof requiring certain terms and conditions pursuant to Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program. Mayor and City Commission.
Mr. Manager,
Miss-
anything you'd like to add? I do have some questions. Anything you'd like to add to this?
Mayor, as described before in my report, this is in an attempt to better utilize our funding that we have available through Park Impact Fee by matching whatever is available from the state of Florida.
I did notice that some of these items, we had already included them in a project that we were going to do in the future. So have you extracted those from that project and added them here, and for what reason?
Well, the only thing that that does is, we're still doing the project. They may delay those projects from occurring, but we'll have the ability to, basically, one of the biggest portions there would be construction of the new bathrooms to replace the old ones. And we could basically build that portion of the building first, and then subsequent, later time, we could build the gymnasium when the funding becomes available, all to tie in together.
Commissioner Blanes,
Any questions?
Warp
Mr. Blanes? Warp speed.
Commissioner Blanes, that's your baby. It's the wreck.
You know, you got to be patient when you're in government.
Well, Mr. Fernandez just offered he would
That's your wreck.
draft a letter for us, so we can follow up with him on that, Mr. Penna?
Definitely,
Any help is welcome, so.
always.
He offered, we will take him up on that. Mr. Blunt, is anything else, sir?
No?
Motion.
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Yes, Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes. Item 11M, a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to renew and execute the mutual aid agreement titled Combined Voluntary Cooperation and Operational Assistance Mutual Aid Agreement between the city of Miami, Florida, and the city of West Miami, Florida, providing for an effective date. Mayor and city commission.
Chief?
Again, it's the mutual aid agreements that we have with all the municipalities, and they expire after a certain amount of time, and that is what we're doing now with the city of Miami.
Any questions?
Motion.
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Yes, Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Good of the order?
I want to make a comment about Mr. Blanes. In the rec, we are going to have with this impact fee matching, new bathrooms and the roof for the pavilion, new lights. It's going to be great for the rec.
I've been
We have a
I've
good
been
rec,
dreaming
so it's
about
going
it.
to be better. Congratulations.
Good things come to those who wait.
Yep. Just gotta be patient, I guess.
Anything else? Good of the order?
Good night.
Again, I want to thank everyone in attendance, residents, staff. Thank you all for being here. Meeting's adjourned. Good night.
Thank you.
If anyone in the public wants some pastelitos, please come over here, come to the front.
Good job, Rhonda. Good job.
8:22, record time.